This show contains adult content. Hello everyone, welcome back to Sounds Like Crows. I'd like to thank our wonderful patrons, all of you first of all, but this week, Ethan Saperstein, Tim Ruiz, Benjamin Powers. Thank you so much. Mwah. I don't know when I started blowing kisses on Mike. Is that a good like catchphrase? Important questions. Also, thank you to Aaron Blackston, Jared, Kyle Neese, Ariel Weiss, Suzanne Hagen, and Greg Gray. No, I don't like it. I'm gonna stop. Deadlands, The Weird West, and the Savage World System are owned by the Pinnacle Entertainment Group, who you can find at peginc.com. Music on the show is provided by Rudy Zuniga, Levi Rojas, William Cartwright, Caleb Sunstead. With all of that out of the way, welcome back to the Weird West.
Previously on Sounds Like Crows. The Crow Boys have apparently become dissuaded from their goal. Tabitha Raines, well, they don't want to put her in the dirt no more. Or at least, that's what some of them say. We join Ellis as he finishes peeking on the other side. The spirit side of his dark passenger, giving him a glimpse he wishes the other boys could see. See them now in the belly of the beast, with only their souls to guide them.
I'm going to end concentration so I can just snap back to my regular form. I'm going to have to make a vigor check. Got it.
I think that we have an agreement if all of your brothers agree.
Lucky doesn't say a goddamn thing.
I guess Ellis just comes to in the middle of this.
Yeah.
Just kind of snaps back. Well, boys, I just took a quick peek to the other side. It sounds fucking crazy.
As you say that, Weechuge does like the peekaboo baby face.
And, it's not looking too good. These pipes, that furnace, these things are teeming with Manitow.
I would not speak ill of my children.
Your children, they're just using you.
No.
Yeah.
Ellis.
They're just using you to get to our world.
Ellis.
They are the future. We can solve so many problems.
You're causing a lot more problems than you're solving here, trust me. You might think you're going through science, but this has dark magic written all over it.
Ellis, maybe if you'd stay with us a little bit more.
Abel, you don't understand. These Manitow, she's breeding fear and hatred. She's bringing more of these things into our world.
Ellis, you're speaking goddamn Chinese to most of us.
I mean, he's right. That's exactly what they're doing if you say you saw what you saw.
Yeah, that furnace is like I guess they don't know what aquarium is in this, this point in time, huh?
It's fine.
The aquarium's teeming with them, and something's oozing out of these pipes. Something I can only see in the hunting grounds.
Abel tosses the cigar to the ground and stamps it out with a foot, and just sighs deeply.
The tobacco rains through the grated floor onto the floor below.
Boys, you remember the story of the flood from the Bible and Noah's Ark? Well, the time for another flood has long gone. It's too late. Evil's overflowing into our world, and there's nothing that's gonna stop it. Now's our chance. We can put an end to this, at least in this one spot.
Lucky's left hand starts twitching.
Ellis, if you actually... He lets the shotgun hang loose and runs a hand up, pulls his hat off, and kind of wipes some sweat off his face. Ellis, there ain't nothing to accomplish here.
The dam's leaking. Water's coming through. We can patch it up in this one spot.
Fine. So say we stop it up. Then what?
We move on to the next one.
She ain't the one poking holes in it.
She is.
Crane is.
Crane is too. They both are. She might not know it, but Miss Raines, you think you're creating a better future for mankind. You're just falling right into their trap. They want you to do this.
If they want me to fix our problems, what's the issue with that? You speak of the Bible, Alice, but I doubt you've ever read it to completion.
No, you're right about that.
The end of times is coming for us either way.
All you're doing is speeding up the process.
Your Crane killed your mother.
Yeah, he did.
I know how.
As I said, Ellis, maybe you stay with us a little bit more and you'd know what's happening in this world.
Maybe if you saw what I saw in the other world, you wouldn't have that same opinion, Abel.
Jesus Christ.
Now listen, this is about you and your kids. If everybody else wants to just make amends with Miss Raines here, become allies with her, and Mondragon, well, I guess I'll go along with it. But Mrs. Raines, once our business is done here, you can expect a visit from me and my friend.
Very ominous, Mr. Ellis. If it is only you returning, I'm afraid I don't fear for my safety.
All right, keep it that way.
I would appreciate if you left during our negotiations. You can be escorted to somewhere neutral.
He stays here.
There ain't no neutral place here.
Yeah, on that one, I'm not bending either.
I'm not even armed. I just put my arms up. I'm still wearing that raggedy old outfit, waterlogged.
Yeah.
Holy waterlogged, by the way.
He's our idealist.
Someone make a persuasion roll to keep Ellis here at -2 since he threatened her life.
I'm actually not that good.
I only have a D4.
I have a D4 too.
If I fail, what does it mean? Or you're not going to tell me.
I think we decide after.
I got a 4. It blows up. I got a 4. It blows up.
Beautiful.
And I got a 2. Mrs. Raines, I might be a vengeful son of a bitch, but I'm a man of my word. I will not harm you today.
I will have to take that, I'm afraid. So, you will leave with as many of the 22 women that want to leave with you, and I will convince the Colonel.
You guys really sure about this?
Good God, no. But we still gotta listen to what Abel wants.
We might be walking into a trap here.
We were walking into the trap when we got here.
Think about it. She's like, oh, they got me alone down here. Why don't I just get them to the top with this facade, and then I'll let my men take care of it for me?
Ellis, you don't need to repeat the situation to us. We're all very well aware of what we're getting ourselves into.
Yeah.
What's our other option, then, Ellis?
I just cracked my knuckles.
Yeah. For once, I think I will be the voice of restraint.
All right, we'll see if you can keep singing that tune once we go topside, Abel.
Miss Raines, there is one piece that is an absolute cornerstone to our continued cooperation. I need you to explain to me why Crane wrote down Meadow Crow.
I'm not familiar with her name, but I assume the list was not very long. Perhaps Hiram is related?
What do you know about Hiram?
He was the first. When we controlled the judge with the sergeant's help, the first subject sent out was after Hiram Crow. I assume Crane's vengeance no doubt falls upon all members of his family.
Yep.
I think the camera cuts over to a close shot of Harper. We can still see that he's in that same crouched position. I think he's leaned forward with his eyes tightly shut and his jaw tightly flexed. His forehead is kind of resting against the rifle. As you can see, he's just trying to contain his rage, flexing and unflexing his jaw. He takes a moment to collect himself and then stands up and moves over and starts to kind of pace the room.
Crane, sore spot, but Hiram Crow, and took something important to Thomas. Very important, and his rage, many years. Justice served in his eyes. And Crane does not stop until everyone that could take revenge has been...
Listen here, you cryptic son of a bitch. What the fuck did he take?
She did not tell me.
The shotgun is lying loose on Abel's lap, and his right hand, the one tattooed with the snake wrapping down his arm, pulls a card from his pocket, and he just starts idly playing with it on his fingers.
Lucky, would you make a intimidation roll for me?
Unfortunately, I will.
She got a 5.
3.
Before we resolve this, Ellis, would you make a spirit roll for me?
I got 10.
She's clearly lying, and she knows what Hiram stole.
Why won't you tell us?
Like I told your brother, I don't know.
I don't believe you.
I maybe trust your word, but you could kill me. And she looks around to all of you. Best to keep a few cards up the sleeve.
What a better way to ring in our new partnership here than with a show of mutual trust.
I think if you want Crane off your back, you give us every tool you can.
One of you make a persuasion roll, yeah?
I think it's Ellis.
Again? All right, I'll try it.
Beat a 5, man.
I'll give it a shot. Maybe I'll use these bennies after all.
Yep.
I got a 4. It blows up.
I got a 4.
That's a loaded dice,
Holy
dude.
shit.
You're weighted dice right now.
Holy shit.
Jesus Christ.
I got a raise for sure. So that's 4, 4, 4 plus 2. We're looking at 14.
Oh my god.
Do I have all of your words on this deal? Swear on your mother's grave? She smiles.
Nah, you're gonna have to pick something else.
I suppose if my death is imminent, I will take solace that yours is soon to follow. You have plans to kill Crane. I can help with that. Ask.
What did Hiram, my father, take from Mr. Crane?
We cut to a hot, muggy night in Louisiana. There is a party in full swing, spilling out onto the porch and into the yards surrounding a large southern plantation. Its red and white brickwork is being lit up currently by the fireworks exploding over the nearby fields. A palette of red, white, and blue emerges to life in the sky, surprisingly close to you, Hiram. You and Mal are on the porch. The fireworks display has just started, and Mal is enamored with this. This is the first time in his life, and probably in Hiram's life, that you have seen a fireworks display, I imagine, unless you saw something special on 4th of July somewhere. But both of you being from poor towns, I doubt that was the case. Hiram is leaning on a railing overlooking this large group of people that, again, all have more money than him. Although you and Mal are dressed more appropriately to the fashion of the people surrounding you. Mal leans forward on the railing of this porch you're standing on and slides his left hand towards your right hand that's on the railing. His pinky touches your hand, and then he starts to fold his hand over yours.
I think Hiram leaves his hand there for just a fraction of a moment before pretending to be startled at one of the fireworks and jerks his hand up and fishes in his coat pocket for his cigarette tin and produces a cigarette for himself and then offers one to Mal as well as a way of distracting.
Mal smiles and grabs the cigarette with the hand that was just touching yours and then puts it up to his lips and waits expectantly for you to light it.
He does. Hiram is fine following through in that way.
A smile is exchanged that's held longer by Mal than by you. We see a shot of them two staring at each other for a moment with a smile, and then Hiram looks away, and we cut to see what he's looking at. Having just given the speech leading up to this display of fireworks outside of his home, Thomas Crane now strides towards you confidently with a broad fake smile on his face. Just behind him is Judge Cyrus Call. Both men are dressed exquisitely. Cyrus in a three-piece suit, bow tie, that's like a little bit too big for him, the whole suit is. And then Thomas is, I mean, we've described him so many times, but his figure fills out the tan suit he's wearing, this beige three-piece with a white shirt and a high collar, almost like reminiscent of that famous portrait of Napoleon. He's wearing a black bow tie that's very neat and orderly. And, man, I don't even know what his facial hair situation is like at this time. Some broad black mutton chops, perhaps. He strides towards you confidently, ascending the stairs, and with a big, meaty palm, ignoring Mal, extends it towards you, Hiram, happily.
Hiram Crow, it is a pleasure to meet you. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Thomas Crane, and, well, you're standing on my property. How are you enjoying the festivities so far?
Hiram takes his pro-offered hand and shakes it with a firm grip, giving him a smile that is polite, if not warm.
Mr. Thomas Crane, your reputation does precede you. Having a wonderful night. Thank you for asking. Quite a spectacle.
Points up to the sky where the fireworks are still exploding in the background.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I'm afraid this year's spectacle couldn't be nearly as grand as last year's, but what can you do when times are like these? And I tell you what, while everyone is busy enjoying the show, I've had my fill of fireworks, I think, for more lifetimes than I can count. How about we go somewhere a little bit quieter? Please, follow me.
Without waiting for a response, he motions you towards the main doors, which are closed. Two attendants, sharply dressed, stand nearby, waiting to open the doors for you.
Hiram will toss a look over to Mal with just a fierce but subdued grin, if he's sure that nobody will see it, and then inclines his head towards Crane and begins to follow without waiting for Mal.
Mal follows behind Cyrus Call even. The doors are swung open for you, and you enter into this Louisianan home. There are two large staircases that flank this grand entryway. The floor is a mixture of marble and granite in fractal spiraling patterns. The whole place is lit up by a large chandelier that reflects off like wall-length mirrors on either side of the room. Color palette is white and like very subdued red pastel. The attendants that are in here move to close the doors behind them as they leave. And you catch glimpse, Hiram, of someone in the archway underneath this, where these two sets of stairways converge at a balcony above you, kind of catch sight of Thomas and move away, closing a door behind them. You get the impression that you will be left alone here for the duration of your conversation. Crane brings your small group to a stop directly below the chandelier. We get a shot looking down from the flashing hundreds of candles that sit upon it. And I think we see a figure move between two doorways on the top of the stairs while we remain focused on this group of four. Cut back down to the ground level as Crane turns to Mal.
Malachi, thank you so much for your service. The general told me about your brave and heroic deeds, and your sacrifices greatly appreciated for the good of our country.
And Mal just sort of stammers,
thank you, sir. We're just happy to, be here. I mean, it's hard to find honest work, and, well, I mean, not that this is... It's hard to find work, sir, and we're glad to be getting back into doing something. I'm glad to be doing something I'm good at.
Crane nods and flashes Mal a obviously fake smile to you, Hiram.
Well then, I believe we'll be left alone here just fine.
He turns back to Hiram.
Mr. Crow, Justice Call has informed me that, well, of the two of you, by your own admission, Malachi, Hiram, you are the better of both of you in the skill of hexing. Is that correct?
Hiram, without looking over at Mal and without skipping a beat, says,
I would say that's true, sir, yes.
Excellent, excellent. Where's your family from, Mr. Crow?
Well, I hail from the great state of Texas.
Ah, the Grand Republic. What did your family do?
Well, nothing that I'm sure would interest a man of your station.
Well, don't put down your family so quickly. I'm sure they were fine people.
When Crane calls them fine people, Hiram's smile gets a little bit colder.
But I take that answer to mean that you're looking to get ahead in this world.
Well, I think every man who has ambition is trying to get ahead in this world, and we all find whatever way works best for us. Some roads are less traveled than others.
As Hiram talks, we cut upstairs to a pair of finely dressed feet, a dress swooshing just a few inches above the ground, and the feet stop at the corner just before the top of the left staircase, and we can see like a third of the frame is the wall and filled up with that dress, and the other 2/3 of the frame are looking down on this chandelier and all the people having this conversation below it.
Well, Hiram, may I call you Hiram? Because I'm sure in the days to come we are going to get quite close.
Of course you can call me Hiram. Can I call you Thomas?
Please do. I like to help as familiar with me as possible. Hiram, I won't mince words with you. I care greatly about this country and the people that live here. You know, we are one of the youngest nations on Earth, and yet we are poised to be one of the greatest. Myself and my associates are ready to step into that role to lead this country where it needs to go. And I want you on board with that future. I want you to be with us every step of the way. America has survived this long by not playing fair, and I plan to do the same. And you, a no-good rule breaker, and he gives you a coy smile, is about as true of an American as we can get in this goddamned country. So, if you're on board with this, I want to lay the cards down on the table for you so you know where we're going together.
You sound like a driven man. There's a saying I heard once, I don't know where it's from, something about all's fair in love and war. And it sounds like you're ready to take this country to war against itself even.
You've been speaking too much with the abolitionists, I'm afraid. I'm sure the North will find their senses eventually.
I didn't mean to imply that I didn't approve of your methods. What I meant was, history remembers the victor. And sometimes, to make an omelet, you gotta break a few eggs. A man such as yourself don't make his own omelets, does he?
Very astute, Hiram. You're goddamned right.
Turns out I'm an excellent chef.
Well, I look forward to seeing your cooking. Before you get in over your head, at least let me tell you what's in the icebox. While I am a student of the occult, I no doubt do not have your level of information or expertise in the subject. The whole damned thing is so shrouded in mystery, it's hard to tell what's possible and what's just a story made up for the more aspiring gambler. So why don't you tell me what it is you gentlemen can cook up for me?
And he smiles.
So, can we talk out of character for a second about what that would actually be? So,
Yeah.
I figured Hiram has at least a D6 in his spellcasting. I don't know if he would have higher at this point. As far as powers, the only 3 that I had earmarked that I thought he would have would be hunch, which is how he can, know things he shouldn't or get additional information. I think he knows obscurement.
Yeah.
It just has a lot of uses, and he could use that to either
Totally.
do something impressive visually or to help him get away or to help him sneak around and stuff.
Totally.
And then probably fear is his really great get out of jail free card. He could freak people out. He could intimidate them. He could use it to get away, whatever. Maybe he has more than that. I don't know. But I figured that was like the bare minimum that he had.
Yeah, all of those sound perfect. I like sort of the Thaddeus theme too, Maybe Hiram can do some other things, but he can't do them consistently.
Gotcha.
So why don't you tell me what it is can you cook up for me, Hiram?
Well, I am a man of talents and mysteries. I can know things I shouldn't be able to know just by touching something. I can manipulate the area around me, harder to see, good under cover at night. Strike fear into the hearts of mortal man. Just the tip of the iceberg, so to say. But these arts, these hexes, as you're calling them, there's a lot of different things you can do. Sometimes it work, sometimes it don't.
When you say you can see things, Hiram, what can you see about me?
Hiram has a very self-satisfied smile as he reaches into one of the folds of his coat and produces a deck of worn-looking playing cards, fans them out with an expert hand, holds them in front of him face down with that same easy smile. Pick a card, Thomas. Any card you like.
He looks back to the judge with a smile and says, I feel like I'm in Dodge right now. And he reaches forward and, he's just going to grab a card roughly in the middle of the deck.
What card do you think you pull? Do you want to draw a card yourself and tell me what it is?
I'd love to. Crane picks a card and smiles as he looks at the King of Spades.
While Crane is reaching for the card, I think Hiram is going to try to move his hand in such a way that he can just briefly brush Crane's hand with his own. He's going to cast Hunch. What do you think, D6 or D8 for cast die?
I think D6.
Okay.
I don't think Hiram would ever get to a D10, right? Like the best he would get in his life would be a D8, so that's probably later.
Okay. 3 and a 5.
Okay. As you grab his hand, we zoom in on it, just push towards the hand and almost fly into Thomas Crane's skin and out through the other side into a new scene. The sky is bright. It's noon. There's barely any shadows on the ground, just straight above this group of 5 people, and a 6th being dragged behind them. These 5 people are all like 16, 18 years old, and one of them is Thomas Crane. A young Cyrus Call is there, and walking with them are 3 other figures you don't recognize, and then being dragged behind them with a noose around his neck is this haggard kid, also like 16, 18, barely being able to breathe as these boys laugh and pull him, tightening the noose around his neck. We get a wide shot of all of them in the same uniforms, almost like school uniforms or like maybe a military academy uniform, and they're all pulling this kid behind them. And then we cut near to a tree as Crane grabs the other end of the rope, swings it, and flips it over the top of a tree branch. And a few of the other boys start to pull and laugh as this kid desperately chokes for air. And then we cut back and we see Thomas smiling at his King of Spades.
I think Hiram, in spite of his cocky demeanor, pulls back into himself and takes a sharp inhale. We see him swallow once to himself, the startings of sweat beating around his temples.
As you struggle to regain composure, Mal places one hand on your lower back and leans in with a, "Are you okay?"
And Hiram licks his lips before speaking, keeping his voice as steady and confident as he can. You're a man of distinction. You went to West Point Military Academy, along with General Cyrus Call and 3 of your other friends. Y'all were close. Still are. Bonded in the way that many young men do. Found your ambition and drive and your need to put the world in the order that you think it should be. I think he pauses there to flick eyes around the room. Who is in this room currently?
It is empty, save for the 3 of you. Although, make a notice roll for me.
3 and a 5?
It is just the 3 of you, but you think there may be an eavesdropper upstairs. You just get the feeling that someone is watching you from up there, and you heard someone move a few seconds ago, but you no longer hear anything.
I think his instinct is to project just a little bit, just a tad louder, and he says, "It was a bright day. Shadows were small. High noon. You were dragging a boy, maybe one of your classmates, strung him up in a tree."
That's before Crane's interruption. His eyes went from calm and in control to scared and confused. He comes in quickly with an interruption, as you say, strung him up, and tries to speak over you.
Well, my God. Can you really see it with such clarity? That's unbelievable. Cyrus, did you tell him about this? No, certainly not. I may have mentioned that we went to West Point together, but I would never speak to anyone about. Fine. Hiram. How did you know that?
I think, does Hiram doesn't know what card he pulled? I don't think that's a part of it.
It's an easy enough thing, especially to someone that's a lifetime gambler like yourself, to force a card. So if you would like to have forced the King of Spades, you could have.
Yeah, then let's say he forced the King of Spades, and in answer to Thomas Crane, his stance relaxes a little bit, and he points a finger out to the card that Crane is still holding, and he says, "That's the King of Spades, by the way." And then turns to Cyrus Call and gives him a smile before turning back to Crane. "Sometimes it's just a matter of knowing where to look. I'm very good at what I do, Thomas. It may not be as flashy as beating a man with padded fists, but we all have our area of expertise."
So say we all.
And his stone, cold, in control expression returns to his face.
Well, if you can find that type of information on me, on our first meeting, Hiram, I'm sure you're going to do great things for this country. So, let me lay the cards on the table for you. I have been recently appointed to oversee a variety of circuit judge positions across the western frontier, primarily in Texas. Now, I'm not sure if you understand what that means, as I doubt you are a man that has studied law in his life, but while it may not be a thing you're good at, it's something I understand deeply. We are going to be responsible for every major court decision throughout Texas and adjacent territories. I plan to put myself and my friends, and he smiles at you, Mal, and then Call in that order, in positions where they can do great things for this country. And anyone that's put in our way, I'm certain that between the long arm of justice and your unique skills, we will be able to handle bringing a new level of sophistication to the western frontier. I have been trying for a while now to find someone of your talents, and I will tell you plainly and bluntly, Hiram, you are to be desired. You're a rare breed, a diamond in the rough, and while it's not sensible in most cases to put that kind of praise against someone you're negotiating with, I think given the circumstances and your knowledge, it's fair to say that from this point on, you and I, our lives, our business, and our prosperity will be intertwined in a way that you could not have comprehended in your common upbringing. But together, Hiram, you will do things your folks never dreamed you could do. Things and places that you will go that you would never have thought about before you met me. So, what do you say, Hiram? Are you going to call?
I always was a betting man, but I always like to hedge my bets as well. And it seems like this is a winning prospect, Thomas. I'm certainly a man for the long haul.
You're goddamned right it is.
And he puts out his hand, and the intimidating handshake that was there before is now just like genuinely warm and friendly. There's still something behind his eyes, you know, like when you look at him, you can just see him stringing up that person with his buddies. But it seems for the moment, I think, that you've won him over.
In that moment, when Hiram sees the true Thomas Crane shifting behind his eyes, he has that same fleeting moment of trepidation and uncertainty, but then it's washed away just as quickly as he realizes that he's been successful here. As they're shaking hands, Hiram says, "Here's to things to come."
As you shake hands and smile, your eyes drift upwards, Hiram, at a figure descending the stairs. We cut to a shot of your hand shaking, and the focus shifts to see the figure walking down the stairs behind these figures in a deep red dress, framed by the hands, is Meadow Crane.
His words, not mine, I'm afraid. I disagree with the sentiment, but his wife, Meadow,
Jesus fucking Christ.
She's got a lot more complex.
I'm afraid it is the truth. I'm sorry that you find... But
Abel, she's spinning us a goddamn yarn.
Yeah, perhaps so. But still, lucky we persist.
Maybe we'll have the chance to ask Crane about it.
I don't think it fucking matters.
Why?
Why would it? We're gonna kill Crane either way.
why he would keep you alive?
Because he's a sick son of a bitch, that's why.
He's a coward. Doesn't want to face us himself.
He knows we killed one of his judges already.
Abel's really deep in thought as he plays with that card idly. And then at last he sort of pauses and looks at it for a second and looks up to Tabitha again. He dies like a normal man, right?
She nods.
Okay. He stands up.
What the hell is he planning?
Who fucking knows?
And who cares? This is just one more offense on the balance sheet.
Well, you're coming with us, right, Tabitha?
No. Experimentation must continue.
He meant to the top side, you dumb bitch.
She frowns. I guess if that's all the information you need from me, let's go.
Did anybody else leave something on the ship? I got some stuff down there. Do we got time to maybe swing down there and grab a couple items, or...
Yeah. I left my best friend down there. Harper glares over at Tabitha.
Crane played you, and if anyone's death, surely it must be on the future governors.
You don't need to convince us to kill him any more than we already want to.
I need not me. And she looks at Harper.
He just holds her gaze for a moment.
Why would I lie to you? I am invested.
Harper kind of drops his gaze and looks over at Abel.
Well, there's a hell of a storm out there. Can't even fly in this airship.
With difficulty, yes. The storm is ever present.
Your call, Harper.
We'll just go get her. Boot's gonna want to take his fucking boat anyway. Harper moves over to the door. He looks over his shoulder at Tabitha one more time, and then with that steel arm just punches basically a hole in the wall and moves off.
Thaddeus, you and I'll stay here with Miss Raines while you boys go down to the ship and get our tech.
All right.
All right.
Look, he just nods.
Thank you for listening to Sounds Like Crows. I'm Caleb Sunstead, and you can find me on Twitter at MarshallCaleb. Thaddeus Crow is played by Marshall Sims at Mr. Malicious1 on Twitter. You can find him, me, Cameron Reed, and Alex on our other podcast, Omen's Call. Abel Crow was played by Isaac Sunstead at Abel the Crow on Twitter. Ellis Crow is played by Alex Horrell, who you can find on Twitter at Alex Horrell. Luciano Lucky Crow was played by Cameron Day, who you can find on our patron Discord server, The Crow's Nest. Harper Daisy Crow was played by Cameron Reed, who's on Twitter at CJReed211. You can follow the show on Twitter at Sounds of Crows, or find our contact information at soundslikecrows.com. And please tweet at us at Sounds of Crows with the hashtag LuckyPlease. Hashtag LuckyPlease. And a message you want us to talk about in character. A huge thank you to my good friend Doug Nesbitt for coming on the show and portraying Hiram. You can find him on his show RPG for You and Me at rpgforyouandme.com or in any podcatcher you might find. Their show is on Twitter at RPG for You and Me. Feel so lucky to have him on the show. Thanks, buddy. That's it. See you next Monday.